Now, when I saw that, I was a little shocked myself. I want to say it was a silk press, cut, and color. And I'm sure some other things as far as, conditioning and whatever else she does to prep the hair to, for these services. But the total price was... Hey guys, welcome back. What's crack-a-lackin', subbies? And what's going down, newbies? And just in case you don't know what a newbie is, I'm about to tell you. A newbie be anybody checking me out, maybe for the first time, maybe for the second, maybe even for the third. Honey, we don't count such numbers like that around here. We really don't. I just want all of my subs and I want all my noobs to gather around and come on in. Okay, so for today we have a little quickie. Just something that popped in my little noggin and that's been on my mind just for a little bit. Now, we all know that not everybody has a certificate of kitchen beauticianship. In other words, not everybody's about that DIY life when it comes to their hair. So with that being said, that's where the professionals come in. Go into the salon and get your services done there. You guys know that I've had my certificate for quite a while. But of course, I didn't start off that way. I too went to a professional for quite a few years, especially when I was a kid. How many of you guys remember going to the hair salon back in the day and getting a press and curl? With the press and iron and the grease and yeah, exactly. Now, I remember back then a press and curl was about, I want to say it was about $25. This is average. I'm giving average prices. And then when I crossed over to the times of the teenager, that's when I got interested in relaxer. And I think relaxers were at that point about $60. I want to say it was around that, $45 to $60. And we're talking about a wash, condition, and then the service. Now, fast forward to present times, the press and curl has now turned into basically a silk press, because now instead of doing it with a comb, a pressing comb, they pretty much do it with a flat iron, and there's a little process with that. So I want to say that a silk press, we're looking about maybe on average about $90, maybe a few ducats more. And then if you wanted color, I remember when I first got my hair done, as far as color was concerned, I want to say that I paid about $100, $120, something like that. Depending on the type of color that you're getting, and of course the salon that you're going to, the color can be maybe a couple of $100. As well as a relaxer service, I want to say that's around $150. A lot of these services are now about in the hundreds. So depending on the service, when you go to a salon, on average, you're looking at about maybe $100 plus a few coins more, okay? But around 100, a couple hundred, something like that. Okay, so recently, as recent as maybe a couple weeks ago, I was online, minding my own business, honey. And then I scrolled and something popped up on my feed. It was a short from someone that I follow. It's a hairstylist that I follow. And she's very good, which is why I follow her. And she basically deals with natural hair. Okay, so she doesn't really deal with relaxers, but she deals with natural hair as far as styling it and making the hair look as if it were relaxed. You know what I mean? Through the silk press, and she does color and cuts and all this good stuff. So on this particular day, in this particular short, she was showing herself doing a client's hair, as she usually does. But what was different this particular time, she actually divulged the price. Because a lot of people, they don't drop numbers, they don't talk about the price as far as the services that they provide. They usually direct you to the website or the call or whatever. So she's going through the motions, she's doing this, she's zhuzhing it up, she's showing the color and this and that. And then she posted the price. And I must say, it shocked a lot of people. And for what was shown, I want to say it was a silk press, cut, and color. And I'm sure some other things as far as, conditioning and whatever else she does to prep the hair to, for these services. but the total price was $1,000. It was $1,000 plus. So I want to say it was $1,000 and some change. So let's just say it was 1,100. Let's just say that, $1,100. Now, when I saw that, I was a little shocked myself. So I did scroll through the comments just to see the reactions of the people seeing the price as well. Maybe I was a party of one as far as being a little surprised at how much she was charging for this. Honey, I was not alone. Of course, there were some that were, obvious fans of hers and felt like, you know what, you should be able to charge whatever you want. This is great, so forth and so on. You did a great job. You a hair baddie. But there are a lot more people that voiced their displeasure and shock with regard to the price, saying how it was a lot and, I'd rather do my hair at home and how can you charge this much and that's exorbitant prices and yada, yada, yada. So the overwhelming consensus was that it was a little much, to say the least. Now, again, not all stylists online are very forthcoming as far as their prices, but I have seen one or two others where they posted the cost to their services. And up until then, the highest that I had seen was about $700. And I will admit, it usually does include color. But it got me to thinking, because of the consensus, because of the response and the sticker shock, and for me, just to even gauge it from when I last went to a salon to what's going on now, I wanted to know how much is too much. How much are you, those who are not DIY, those who go to the salon, those who seek professional hair services, how much are you willing to pay for a professional to do your hair? Because it's obviously a personal choice. A lot of people spend money on handbags, and people wonder why, well, why would you pay so much for a handbag? It's just a handbag. There are people that spend thousands of dollars on a pair of shoes, and people snub their nose at that. So it is a personal choice as far as what you are paying and getting in return. The value of the product and or service and what it provides, the skill that is involved as far as these particular products and services, the time and resources spent in providing these services, as well as the time saved in receiving these particular products and services. So there are certain factors that come into play when it comes to cost and what one is willing to pay and the true value that this particular service or product provides. So again, how much are you willing to spend? Now, I know with inflation, obviously a press and curl that is now a silk press is not going to be $25. Inflation comes into play, and the whole cost of living. The longer that you live, the more that you are probably going to pay for certain services. So I know that there's an increase when it comes to goods and services. We all know that. That's natural and that's to be expected. But interestingly enough, and y'all let me know if it's just me that I've noticed that while hair services have gone up significantly, by leaps and bounds, as far as getting your own hair, the hair that grows out of your head, getting your actual hair done, conversely, the prices for dealing with hair that's not your own and getting add-ons, if you will, like lace wigs, weaves, braids, those prices have pretty much steadied or gone down, because when lace wigs and stuff, when that first came out, honey, a wig, you talking about a couple $1,000s. Nowadays, you can find a good lace wig with human hair. You can find those under $1,000 now. You can even find them on Amazon. Yes, Amazon is in the lace wig business, honey. Even the synthetic ones look real nowadays. You know what I mean? So they really upped their game as far as that's concerned. And a lot of people are doing DIY as far as their lace wigs anyway. They're not really going to a salon. They just clicking a couple of buttons and ordering online, and they just popping it on not popping it. As those in the business say, installing. They're installing their own units and keeping it pushing. So again, I have noticed that even the natural salons that deal only with textured hair and hairstyles, those prices have increased as well. So I think it's safe to say that salon prices overall have increased, along with, I'm sure, the products that they use, the prices of those have increased, so that passes down to the customer. But again, when you're talking about a couple hundred and then you're getting into thousands of dollars for a hairstyle that may on average last maybe about a week, depending on how you take care of it, maybe 2 weeks, maybe you're really good and the weather is cooperating and you don't have any humidity, you wrap it at night and everything is cool in the gang, maybe you can get about 2 weeks out of it. But it just made me wonder if there is a ceiling. Not only a ceiling for what hairstylists would charge or salons would charge, but also how much the consumer would pay. Now, I must say that the woman who got her hair done, who was in this particular video, she came in on the comments. She was very complimentary. She was just like, this is great. My hair is great. I love it. So she loved it. So obviously it was worth it to her. And I'm not sure if it was her, but I've seen where other people have flown in to visit these particular hairstylists and salons because they wanted these people, only these people, these professionals, and being that they saw them, they know what they can do. They wanted them only to do their hair, which I can understand as well. But again, we're talking about an additional cost on top of the services that are provided. So we're talking about travel and lodging and this and that just to get your hair done. One stylist online, people who have alopecia and are going through certain issues with their hair, she is well known and she charges a pretty penny for her services and people fly in to see her. So in that case, we're talking about a niche or a need for a service that only certain people can provide. So I can sort of understand that, just like going to a doctor, a heart specialist or a foot specialist that may be in another state. So a hair specialist or one that can actually treat or help mitigate whatever hair trauma you're going through and have you look good in the process, it may be worth the cost. It may be worth the travel. It may be worth the sticker price with regard to that. So again, just like with all things, it's an individual call. And it's not about rich versus poor per se, because there are some that figure these are like celebrity prices. Like, how are you charging celebrity prices when we just lay persons up in here? We work in a regular 9 to 5, and it seems like you're catering to a higher clientele. I can sort of see that argument, but again, I think it's more so about value, what you see the value in and what you are willing to invest in to get the best return. So if you're willing to invest in a service, especially if you know that the person is bona fide, then to you, it may be worth the investment to go to them. Instead of you concocting and buying different shampoos and trying to figure out your pH and your hair type and what goes with what and what relaxer I should use, or, instead of combing your natural hair and braiding it up and then this and that, then just put it all to the side, and all that time and money that you would have spent trying to figure stuff out and do it yourself, to just go to a professional and look like you got your hair did instead of looking like you got your hair didn't. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was really thinking about this. I was thinking, well, what would I do? Would I pay $1,000? And this, of course, if I didn't have my certificate, okay? If I did not have my kitchen beauticianship and hours earned underneath my belt, would I go to a salon that was charging $1,000 to get my hair done? I have to say, for me, I would not. Now, I understand a couple of hundred, because I even told you guys that I was thinking of getting my hair professionally colored or dyed. I'm doing a little semi-permanent now, but if I were to do anything more, which I'm not right now because I have a relaxer, but if I were to do that, I would go to a professional. I've done that before, and I would definitely leave that to a professional because that's not my lane. So with that being said, I'm willing to pay maybe a couple hundred for color services, but $1,000, I think that's beyond my comfort zone as far as monies spent on my hair. But that's just me. Obviously, there are those who would do that. And I just want to say, this is not a knock to any stylists or any salons that charge these prices, including the person that I saw and a lot of the other hairstylists that feel like, well, this is my service. I spend so many hours, applying and doing this. This is a skill. And, when you come to me, I totally understand. This is a free marketplace. You know what I mean? You are allowed to charge what you want to charge, and it's up to the consumer to decide whether they want to go to you and pay that. Okay. So I'm not knocking any stylist that charges what they charge. This is not to badmouth. This is not to disparage. This is not to put down. This is not to do no side eye or nothing like that. I just been out of the loop for so long. I didn't know that's where we landed as far as price, at least some of the salons and the hairstylists. So again, it poses the question because I'm just very curious. Is there a ceiling? Is there a limit to how much you would pay for specifically your hair to get done, hair services? And should there be a limit? Should there be a limit? And is there such a thing as charging too much? I wanted to pose this to all y'all because, like I said, it did make me think. Y'all just let me know down below because I am very curious. I really am. I really am. I would just like to know, those who do patronize different salons or have a hairstylist and you go on a regular, what's the average cost of what you pay? And would you be willing to pay more? Would you be willing to pay more to get the professional services that you get now? All right, then, I done bumped my gums and asked enough questions. I was just curious, so I had to throw that out there. So with that being said, I think we can wrap this up. What do you think? I think we should, and that's what we're about to do. So with that being said, that wasn't too bad, right? We were in and out okay. I want to thank you so much for dialing in and showing up. I really do appreciate it. I really do. I really do. And yeah, we'll be back talking about some more stuff. Honey, I need y'all to come back on in here because we got some more stuff to jibber jabber about. So you got to come back for that. So you already know it's going to be the same Dolce dial. It's going to be the same Dolce channel. So you come on back.